have an interview in like at 1 o'clock. So in like 20 minutes, it it was a ad that I answered on Craigslist. I usually scan for the remote jobs. I look for which ones they have. There had been about five that I'd found in the past that had the requirement to have a laptop, which I now have one. I have a little Chromebook. I'm supposed to have another one sent today from another guy that I'm working with, but he's been very slow in manifesting what he said he was going to do. I texted him today to remind him because he pays the um, Spectrum, but he also has two laptops that are running. This all began when I asked him if I could use one of them. And pardon me, my voice is all fucked up because I was smoking these cowboy killers. I asked him could I borrow or use one of the ones at night for school. And he said that he could hook me up with one. That he would send it. Now this was the end of. This was the end of November. Uh, he did lie a couple times because he said he had sent it to the wrong address. A total lie because he had not yet wiped the computer or something he was going to do. So he just basically was telling fibs. And I told him, I was like, well, you don't really need to do that. There's no point in doing that. If you get busy, just say you're busy. There's no need to lie. That plus that's not good. I don't have to lie to you about anything. I'm like, come on, dude. Come on, man. So the last time I talked to him, he said it would be here Monday. Now I need it for school, but I have this one, so I can start the school. And they actually give you one, but they don't give you one until a year after being in their program. You know, and although I got a grant, the school is ridiculously expensively high. The one thing you would need, or at least want to secure, is the laptop. So I don't know what is animation and what is actually my head from this. Someone said that I wasn't having any audio. They couldn't hear the audio on my video. So I'm redoing this one. Well, I'm making this one to see because I have two different screen recorders. This one's been pretty good about picking up the audio. Now I can go through when I edit. Sometimes if I make a video and I just put it up, I usually can't do that with the screen recorder because I have to change the orientation. So I have to edit it to turn it the long ways, the YouTube format, because it always wants to video it like that. I could change that. Uh, so I need to, I guess. In this one, it doesn't matter. It's going to record it like it is. I think. I'm not entirely sure. But I can jack up the volume in the process, so I'm going to do that. The only other thing I'm worried about is that I've already applied to this job, and this was the one that was. I found this job where they wanted you to sell something. They were going to give you. They immediately gave you uh, insurance, but they were immediately wanting to charge you for it, and I think it was selling that insurance to other people, which wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to sell that to anybody. I wasn't looking to sell to all my friends some product. I'm looking for some sort of job. It doesn't really want to be sales. I'd like it to be some sort of data entry, and I have looked for stuff like that. So I normally phase out sales, almost try to phase out anything that's insurance, but I don't. I mean, life insurance. But of all the gains that I have made in finding stuff, I usually get to the place where I need a computer, and if I haven't had one, I haven't been able to proceed. Although most of the things that I could do on the computer, I could do on the phone, even having multiple phones. That's the alarm wanting to go off because now it's supposed to be ready for time. They have a weird, I thought it would be a Zoom meeting. It's not. It's some other weird ass meeting, which I'm not familiar with. But I'm going to try it out. I'm going to see. They wanted me to have my resume. When I emailed them, I told them I don't have a resume, which is not true. I just don't have access to it. I used to have it on my drive, and I don't know if it's got erased from the drive or not. But I know that I don't have it anymore, except for on the Texas Workforce, workintexas.com, which I did send a message to them to try to figure out how to get into my account because I don't have any of those passwords anymore. I just don't. Because it's been a while since I've been on the unemployment last. It looks like I have a bump in my head, and I don't know if that's like a mark. That doesn't represent a real line. These lines in my head are not lines. They're features of age. Getting old. I guess so. Fuck it. But other than that, I'm going to continue to read from the boards when I can because I find that very interesting. I'm going to keep trying to plug away at this job thing, which, I'd really like to do the one that does that meditating with other people, other than the lady having Trump derangement syndrome, because she was like, oh, I feel so sorry. How isn't it horrible in Texas? I was like, what do you mean? Well, because Donald Trump. I was like, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm like, he shut our border down south, and that's what we wanted and we needed. It was wide open, in case you didn't know. Look how many Somalis came in. They would allow 16,000 Somalis to come in per year on the last president of Trump. Now they've let in 100 million or 100,000. I think not 100 million. That's way too many. That'd be a third of the United States. 100,000. They're all up in Missouri, and they've robbed y'all for $1 billion. $1 billion. We've been watching these videos where they go to these places. Yeah, I know it's time for the meeting. I guess I'll end my thing here now. It's 10 minutes till. So they're going to all these buildings where these Somalis are taking different things. They're supposed to be daycaring kids, feeding kids, excuse me, and doing all this different stuff. They're getting $1 million a year, but they're in these little office buildings with no one there, just somebody at the office, no kids that were going through there, and they had a big stink because they are robbing the shit out of the system, and they're letting them do that. That's $1 billion. Somalians are normally pirates. They're right next door to the Ethiopians, and if you haven't dealt with an Ethiopian scam, or I mean a Nigerian scam, you haven't lived. Because there's always a Nigerian prince that's emailing you and wanting you to cash this check and then send them some money from it. They want the money first before they send the fake check. So it's always a scam, it's always some bullshit, and that's just who they are. They do scams. And being Muslim, they want to put their own people through. So it's not really a good strategy bringing over these people that don't want to be in American culture. whose religion is to decapitate you if you do not convert to Allah. You know, that's not the religion of peace. Nothing I want anything to do with. That's all I'm saying. But please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you can hear this.